Today, we're going back to the jobs that kept Britain running. 21 of them. All real. Lots of them have gone. I'd bet you remember at least one of them. I will admit that some of these jobs sound made up. Like someone invented them down the pub after 4 pints. But every single one was real.
And here's the thing. It wasn't the politicians who kept Britain running. It wasn't the bankers. They were in their smoky private members' clubs, making decisions for us. It was your mum, your nan, your granddad. Ordinary people, up before dawn, doing jobs nobody ever really thanked them for. Long before people started to use their mobile phones as alarm clocks, the knocker-upper walked the streets before dawn, long stick in hand, tapping on bedroom windows until you stirred. In the mill towns, this was a proper job, paid a few pence a week. You did not get a lie-in. You got a stranger tapping your window at 4:30 in the morning.
The question everyone asked was the same. Who woke up the knocker-upper? Nobody ever got a straight answer. You heard him before you saw him.
In the working men's club on a Saturday night, a smoky room, low ceiling and patterned carpet sticky with beer. In the 1970s, walking between the tables, a young woman with a tray around her neck. Single cigarettes, lighters, matches. She did her rounds between the bingo and the turns. Nobody thought twice about it. A lot of the working men's clubs are no longer around. The smoking ban was the final nail in the coffin for a lot of them. The thud of heavy boots, the scrape of Hessian on brick. Then the Coleman appeared, bent double under a sack that weighed more than most children. He would disappear down the side passage and empty the sack into the coal bunker. Black dust everywhere, on his face, on the path, on your mum's clean washing if she had left it out. The shout came first, long and slow, ragbone, echoing off the terraced houses. Then the horse and cart turned the corner. Kids would run out with old clothes and scrap metal. If you were lucky, you might get a goldfish in a bag that always seemed to live for less than a week, or a balloon on a stick. Happy days. Half the kids on the estate did a paper round, canvas bag over one shoulder. Heavy enough to leave a mark. You folded each paper and shoved it through the letterbox. Some letterboxes had those sharp ends and fast springs that felt like they wanted to bite your fingers off. And let's not forget the barking dog that waited every morning to remind you he was there. 70 houses, 7 mornings a week, £2.50. In the rain, your bag got heavier. The ink from the newspaper would rub off on your hands. You were always late for school, but at the end of the week, when you got paid, it all seemed worth it. She stood at the crossing in all weathers. Big coat, bright sign. She knew every child by name. She knew which ones dawdled and which ones ran. She would hold that sign out and the traffic would stop. Just like that. Nobody argued with the lollipop lady, not even the lorry drivers. She was there every morning and every afternoon. Reliable as weather. More reliable, actually. The conductor stood on the open platform at the back of the bus, leather ticket machine around his neck, bell rope in hand. Fares, please? He moved through the bus like a man who had done it 10,000 times, which he had. You told him where you were going. He turned the handle. Out came the ticket with a crank and a click. The route master, the open platform, the conductor calling hold tight as the bus pulled away, all gone. Every bit of it. 5:30 in the morning. The crash of metal bins on concrete. You knew it was bin day before you opened your eyes. The dustmen came in pairs. No gloves, no ear defenders. Just 2 blokes swinging galvanized bins onto the back of a lorry that smelled like last week's dinner. They shouted to each other over the noise. They moved fast. The whole street done in 10 minutes, and they always put the lid back on wonky. You heard the jingle before anything else. Greensleeves, drifting across the estate on a summer evening. Every child within earshot stopped what they were doing, dropped the football, left the bike on the path, ran inside shouting, "Mum, the ice cream van." You came back out with coins warm from her purse. 99 with a flake, strawberry sauce, maybe a screwball if you were lucky. The van was always pastel, pink or blue or cream. The hatch slid open and everything was perfect for exactly 3 minutes. If you grew up in the 1970s or 80s, Britain, you will remember the school dinner lady, the hairnet, the floral pinny, the big metal spoon. She stood behind the food counter and decided your fate. Mash or chips, extra custard or none. Eat your greens was not a suggestion. The hall smelled of cabbage and disinfectant, and something sweet baking somewhere out of sight. She knew which kids were hungry. Really hungry. The ones who came back for seconds were not being greedy. She knew, and she gave them extra, without saying a word. That is the job nobody talks about. The school dinner lady in the kitchen who fed half the estate. No qualifications, no recognition, just a hairnet and a ladle, and the quiet knowledge that some of those children would not eat again until tomorrow. Nobody bought a telly. You rented it. Radio rentals, rediffusion. The man came round when it broke, which was often. He pulled the set away from the wall, opened the back. You could see the valves glowing orange inside. The whole room smelled of warm dust and electricity. He would poke around with a screwdriver and usually fix it. If he could not, he would swap it for another one. The idea that you would own a television seemed mad. They cost a fortune. Renting made sense. The torch beam swept along the row. "Move along, please." The usherette guided you to your seat in the dark. At the interval, she appeared at the front with a tray of chalk ices, Kia Ora, and tubs of ice cream with those little wooden spoons. The cinema smelled of velvet and popcorn and cigarette smoke, because you could smoke in the pictures then. One screen, one showing, and a woman with a torch who made it all work. You picked up the phone. A woman's voice said, "Number, please." That was it. No dialing, no buttons. You told her the number and she connected you, plugging wires into a board of blinking lights somewhere you would never see. The operators were always calm, always patient, even when you could not remember the number and had to go looking for the bit of paper. The operators were always women, always calm, always patient, even when you could not remember the number and had to go looking for the bit of paper. It felt like magic. Someone in a room full of wires, connecting your voice to someone else's. The meter was in the cupboard under the stairs. The meter man knelt down with his leather bag and his clipboard. He opened the box and the coins poured out. Shillings, then later 50 pences. He counted them faster than seemed possible, wrote something down, did a calculation. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, he handed your mum a little pile of coins back. The rebate. That was the best day. Your mum would say right then, and you would get ice cream from the van. Before self-service, you never touched the pump. You pulled in. A lad in overalls walked over. Leaned into the window. 4-star or 2-star, love. He filled the tank. Checked the oil if you asked. Took the cash right there on the forecourt. The whole place smelled of petrol. Properly smelled of it. That sweet, thick smell that got into your clothes. Now you stand in the rain doing it yourself. Progress, they call it. The tiny window at the station. A face behind it. You slid your coins under the glass. The clerk stamped a ticket. Orange card. Heavy print. Sometimes he had to look things up in a big timetable book. This one is for the younger lot. The video shop. Rows of VHS tapes in chunky plastic cases. Horror section at the back. New releases on the wall. The lad behind the counter stamped your membership card. Be kind. Rewind on a sticker by the till. You could borrow it for 2 nights max. If you forgot to return it, the late fee was worse than the film. That shop smelled of carpet cleaner and plastic. Every single one smelled the same. Still miss them, though. Friday night. Knock at the door. The rent man stood in the hallway with his clipboard and his biro. Your parents counted out notes and coins. He wrote it in the rent book, signed it, handed it back. That book lived in the kitchen drawer. It was important, more important than anything else in that house. If the money was not there on Friday, the conversation got quiet. Nobody shouted. It was worse than shouting. The catalogue man. The tally. He came round with a thick book under his arm. K's, Littlewoods, Grattan. Your mum turned the pages at the kitchen table. Curtains, shoes, school uniforms, a new kettle, everything on the never never, £1 a week, sometimes 50 pence. The tallyman knew every house on the street. He knew who paid on time and who did not. Once a week, same day, same time. The insurance man in his brown suit, Prudential, Pearl, Refuge. He sat at the kitchen table with his book and his little receipt slips. Your parents counted out coins for the policy. Nobody really understood the policy, but everyone paid it. But everyone paid it, because that is what you did. If someone died, the Prue man sorted it out. That was the whole point. You paid all your life, so the funeral was covered. He was part of the furniture, like the gas bill. The quietest job on the list. Before anyone was awake, the electric float hummed down the street. The milkman walked up each path. Bottles clinked, empties taken, full ones left. Gold top, silver top, red top if you were watching your weight. In winter, the birds pecked through the foil caps and got at the cream. In summer, the milk went warm on the step if you slept in. The milkman knew things. Who was ill, who was away, who had had a baby. He never said. He just delivered. 21 jobs, all real, all gone. No apps replaced them. No websites took over. They just faded out, one by one, and nobody noticed until it was too late. The woman with the torch in the dark cinema, the coal man, the clippy, the dinner lady. They kept this country fed and warm and moving, and the only record they left behind is the memory of someone who was there. If you remember any of these, the rag and bone man's shout, the milkman's bottles, the dinner lady's ladle, drop it in the comments. And if there is a job missing from this list that you remember, one nobody else seems to talk about, add it in the comments. That is the one we need to hear.
Leave a comment with your memory. I read every single one. Like this video. Share it with someone who was there. And subscribe. There is so much more to come.